We are back. It's been 2 weeks. That's a long time, too long, especially with the hot stove now heating up. And we do need a hot stove. Okay, we're getting some chats in already. Definitely. I'm going to try to answer any and all chats, and I appreciate that. Just going to introduce the stuff right now. First, I am going to talk about the AL East, and that is the hot division at this point. Going to get to Bellinger and Tucker. We're going to get to, I'm going to hit on Schwarber too, even though he's not listed there. We're going to hit all on the Red Sox and certainly chat away and all the pitching market. Latest on top free agents. I'm going to try to hit on all the big pitchers, all the big starters. All right. Before I get to the AL East is hot, I'm going to try to get to a couple questions. Imai, the latest. I think things are heating up on Imai. I don't think there's any question about that. This would be early for a Japanese free agent to sign. He hasn't met with the teams yet, as far as I know. That may start this week. I think somebody said may start this week, and that should be interesting if it does. Imai had a 1.9 ERA this year, 27 years old, will pitch at 28 next year. Right-hander with a slider, so not the splitter that a lot of these Japanese pitchers come over with, but very, very talented guy. Obviously, 2.2 ERA over 2 years, so over 4 years, so that's pretty darn good. Buxton, Bellinger, Tucker to the Dodgers. I hope it's not all of them. I mean, the Dodgers are good enough as it is. They're certainly looking at the outfield. Not going to rule any of them out. We're going to get to the Bellinger Tucker thing. I'm going to have more on that in that next category, so I'm going to get to that. Fromber, Met question mark. I've seen that out there. My understanding is they are interested. They are in on him, if you'd like to say that. It doesn't mean they've made an offer yet, but certainly one of the many teams that could go for Fromber. All right, Giants, Imai, question mark. Yankees, question mark on Imai also. The Yankees, I think, are very interested in Imai. Here's another team I think it could go for Imai. I'm going to get to all the top starters at the end here when we talk about the free agents. I think the Phillies could be a team that could be interested in Imai. Look, they went big for Yamamoto. Reportedly made him the best offer and didn't sign him. So obviously went to the Dodgers. He's made a major contribution there. A World Series MVP, deservedly so. Pirates, question mark. All right, do we have my chat helper? Are we going to get all my chats in here? Thank you very much. Pirates, I think they're going to be in on trades. Certainly potentially hitters. That's what they're looking at. Jeff McNeil is a guy that they could look at for sure. Any trade, I think, will be a possibility for the Pirates in terms of offense. They are looking at Schwarber. They are looking at Real Muto. What is the likelihood that they sign him? Not so sure on that one. Are the Yankees close on Bellinger? Going to get to that on the Bellinger-Tucker update. No question about that. That's big. All right, who are the favorites for Imai? Look, at this point, I'm going to say the Yankees are the obvious potential favorite. Don't want to say they're the favorite because someone might take that and run with it and say, oh, that means that I'm saying that they're going to get him. I think the Phillies do make sense for Imai as well. They're a team that is aggressive. We know they're looking at Schwarber, Real Muto, a lot of things they may do. They may make some trades. Are they moving Skubal? My guess would be no. I think that they will probably try to gauge the market. Will they move him? I doubt it. I mean, can you really move this guy when you've got a team that is a pennant contender that's been in the playoffs 2 straight years? I think that seems like a tough one. All right, let me get to the AL East is up, and I'm going to get to all that Bellinger and Tucker questions after this. I mean, right now, that is the hot division. I was writing about that for the New York Post, and as I was writing about that, I learned that Cease was going to the Blue Jays. So I had to rewrite. Not a big deal. It happens all the time in the newspaper business, but it was clear from the start that the AL East is a very active division. Certainly, Boston is going to be active. We saw that they made the Sonny Gray trade. Toronto, they've got big bucks to spend. They have that money left over from Soto and Ohtani. I'm not sure. They did spend big on Cease, 7 years, $210 million. My understanding from the reports is there are some deferrals, so maybe it's worth 26, 27 million a year. Still a big deal for Cease. Very talented guy, very durable guy. Toronto is a major player. The Orioles, obviously they got Ward. They ended up with Kittredge. They signed Helsley 2 years and $28 million with an opt-out. They've done a lot, and I do believe they are in on Fromber and some of the other big pitchers. So Baltimore is doing a lot of big stuff. And the Yankees, as I mentioned, with Imai and with Bellinger, and I'm going to get to Bellinger and Tucker in a little while. Helsley deal two for 28, absolutely, with an opt-out. So that opt-out, teams are willing to do that. I think that's very good for the player. Do I see the Mets signing any big outfielder? Hey, look, they need to sign outfielders, right? They traded Nimmo. They don't have a center fielder. Certainly they are going to be a team in on Bellinger, and I will get to that now. And I've got a bunch of chats. My chat helper has helped me out with that, and I'm going to get to a lot that have already been sent in here. Bellinger and Tucker update. Oh, before I finish the AL East, I should mention the Rays, they're in the AL East, right? Brandon Lau, it does feel like there's a lot of buzz out there, potential trade. Now, there's been buzz about this guy who's a terrific hitter, really terrific power. I think he's third all time in Rays home runs. This has been going on for a long time, but it does feel like there is a lot of buzz and potentially they could move him. As far as pitchers, I've seen reports that they could go back with Eflin and Hauser. I believe that. Are they a big player like the other four teams? No, but they'll probably do well. They'll probably win a lot of games. All right. Bellinger and Tucker update. All right. Which exec has the most pressure on them this offseason? That's an interesting question. I thought Toronto did last year, and they came through and with an outstanding season. Obviously, they would have been even happier winning that World Series, one of the best World Series we've ever seen, but they did a terrific job, and I expect that Shapiro and Atkins will be rewarded. As far as this offseason, look, I'm in New York right now. You can't see that. I feel gratified. It's a little warmer here than it was in Milwaukee, where I was this morning. Beautiful city, very cold though. Not quite as cold here. It's about 40 degrees. That's a gain of about 30 degrees. All right, I think I've thrown off the track there. All right, anyway, got excited about the better weather here. Bellinger and Tucker update. Chat at me if I skipped one or two, but I will get to some of these questions. But I want to do the Bellinger and Tucker update. Cody Bellinger is very popular in the market, but right now, my understanding and my belief is that the Yankees, while they want him badly, that's the guy. That's their number one guy. I don't think there's any question that Bellinger is their number one guy. There is a gap right now in the talks. So that is not anything that appears to be close. Of course, all these situations are fluid. You never know. But Bellinger, they feel, is the fit. He obviously took to Yankee Stadium after struggling a bit his second year in Wrigley. Wrigley's tough. I mean, as Tucker can tell you, Tucker had a 143 OPS plus, despite the fact that Wrigley's tough. And I get it. Tucker is going to be the guy who's got the biggest deal. He is the number one guy in the market. He is, a year or a year and a half younger than Bellinger. Both are outstanding all-around players. Obviously, Bellinger had those couple years where he was hurt and didn't perform like he can. He has come back now, and that is the Yankees' number one choice. That said, it doesn't feel right now that they are very close in the discussion, so that gives hope to the other teams, the Mets, the Dodgers, potentially the Phillies. Probably a big market team for Bellinger. He's played only for LA, Chicago, and New York to this point. I really don't see him going to a small market, but you never know. We know Kansas City's looking for offense, so never know. But I do think Bellinger probably will end up in one of those biggest markets that I just mentioned. Yankees, probably the favorite. He loved it there. I do believe his dad played there. He thrived there. He fits there. He can play center. He can play first. They obviously have Rice at first. Centers, they've got Grisham, but it's better that they get a guy who can play all these positions. That's why Tucker's really a backup for the Yankees. Now, Tucker is the number one free agent on the market. He is going to do the best of anyone. Only 28 years old, terrific all-around player. Even a down year, that 143 OPS plus, basically the same number of walks as strikeouts, so he's going to do great. Now, is Tucker going to go to the teams that have been most rumored? I don't know. I've seen reports that the Dodgers don't want to go long in terms of the years. I kind of believe that. It does feel like that's something that they would be interested in, a shorter deal. They tried that with Harper. Could it work with Tucker? I kind of doubt it. I mean, I almost think that they have just as much chance to go back and get their old friend Bellinger as they do Tucker. Jays, to me, they probably need to go back and look at Bo Bichette. As I mentioned, they are active. They got Cease. They're going to look at a closer, whether that be Diaz, Suarez. There are good closers on the market. Obviously, Helsley just signed with the Orioles, and they will use him as a closer. Bargain bin, Rob Refsnyder to platoon with Owen Casey in Chicago. Hey, Rob Refsnyder is a good free agent. I mean, he's certainly under the radar. I don't know, does Owen Casey need a platoon? I'm not sure. Owen Casey, I think, will get an opportunity one way or the other. As far as Tucker goes, I'm not sure this is going to happen next week at the meetings. I know we've had big signings at the meetings or shortly after the meetings, but I mean, it may take a little while to figure out because it feels like Bellinger might go first. Not sure on that, but again, nothing close with the Yankees on Bellinger to this point. Still a gap, certainly on the years, but they probably are the favorite for Bellinger. They do need to do something. They do need to answer. The AL East is hot, as I mentioned. All these teams seem to be doing something. Gray is in the AL East with the Red Sox. Cease is in the AL East with the Jays. A lot going on here. All right, Scooble. As I said, I'm going to try to get to these chats now. Thank you to my chat helper. Appreciate that. I don't think he's going to be traded. Will we hear his name out there? I think we will. I think his name will be out there, whether we hear it or not. Do I think he's getting traded? I don't think so. Maybe after all these after the free agents sign, maybe there'll be teams that are still looking because there aren't a ton of great free agent pitchers. We know Cease is already off the board. We've got Fromber, we've got Imai, so we've got two more potential number ones in there. Gallen has been a number one in the past. King has that number one potential. Suarez has been really good as well. So, I mean, there's a half dozen guys who are very good free agent pitchers. Murakami and Akamoto markets. Murakami's got that big power. Could it be Seattle? Could it be I've heard Akamoto, I've heard with Boston more. I'm going to give you, when I get to Boston, I'm going to talk about all the potential guys for Boston. I've heard Akamoto more with Boston. Senga odds, I did see that it was reported by The Athletic that he'd prefer to stay with the Mets. I don't think that'll weigh. They're going to do what they need to do, what they want to do. He's obviously being shopped. It would be weird for him to come back now. So odds, is that odds mean on whether he's getting traded? I think it's pretty good. I mean, I think it's probably 1-2, meaning 2 out of 3 chance that he is getting traded. A's starting pitching. I mean, I hear Luis Severino's name out there, obviously at 6 ERA at home, like a 3 on the road. So probably a good trade candidate in terms of picking up starters. I think they're going to not go get the biggest ones. I think they're looking at infield bats. So could potentially Jeff McNeil be a candidate for them? Potentially could be. Starting pitching, there are a lot of there's some depth in that starting pitching. Bassett was a guy who performed for them. Nick Martinez is the guy who's out there. So there is some depth in the starting pitching market. Absolutely. Scherzer and Verlander to the Giants. Both of them together, I don't know. That's a risk. Verlander was good. He was good for them. I think Verlander is more likely for the Giants than Scherzer at this point. Scherzer will be back. He told us that at the World Series. There's no question about that. What big bats are available? Well, we went over Tucker and Bellinger. Obviously, we know that Bregman is available, Murakami, Akamoto. I mean, there's a decent number. Bichette, obviously a big bat. So there are some big bats available. Mets news, they better make some news. We could do a whole category on the Mets. They need to bring back Diaz. They need to bring back Alonso. If not, Suarez maybe. Not sure how you replace Alonso. All those home runs from the righty side. Not going to be easy. Phillies news, the Phillies are active. I think they're willing to talk on Marsh, maybe on Bohm, certainly on Castellanos. I do think that Imai is a potential for them. Obviously trying to resign Schwarber and Real Muto. Suarez, a possibility as well. Angels, Rendon, I think that will be wrapped up and he will retire. I mean, I saw that report from Alden Gonzalez and I give him credit for that. That's certainly probably a very good report. I can't see him coming back at this point. All right. Phillies and Marte interest. I don't know. We're talking Starling Marte. What Marte are we talking about? There's too many Martes. I'm probably whiffing on that one. All right. Devin Williams back to the Yankees. I don't think so. I mean, he had 1.8 ERA in Milwaukee and a 5 ERA with the Yankees. Shouldn't he go somewhere else and probably somewhere where he can close? Right now, Bedard is their, Benar is their closer, and I think that's going to stay that way unless they sign someone else. But it's not going to be Devin Williams to close. I think he's better off going somewhere where he can close. Is a smaller market better for him? I don't know. He seemed to get a little more comfortable toward the end. He probably can do it in New York. I've seen him connected to the Mets, to the Dodgers. So I guess teams don't fear that there's a potential issue with the market. Red Sox, can they do without going over the luxury threshold? I've seen that. They're concerned about the money. I'm going to get to the Red Sox in a minute. I don't like to hear that about the Red Sox. I mean, I hope you guys can guess why. That makes no sense. Can Bellinger play first? Absolutely. He's outstanding defensively wherever you put him. He can play first, but for the Yankees, he'd be an outfielder. I think same with the Dodgers, the Mets. He'd likely be an outfielder, but right now they don't have a first baseman. The Mets thing, Bellinger makes more sense now. We've been talking about Bellinger and the Mets for weeks, even months, but he makes more sense now that Nimmo has been traded. So, all right, would Dodgers pursue Jaron Duran or Buxton? I think they would. With Buxton, he didn't want to go anywhere at the deadline. So, I'm not sure he's willing to go anywhere. And the rumor is if he's going to go somewhere, he'd prefer to go to the Braves, his hometown team, which I believe. I mean, he's certainly a guy who loves where he is. He loves the comfort. He wanted to stay with the Twins. Even though he knew they were selling, he didn't know the extent of the sale, but he still wanted to stay with the Twins. I don't know that he's going to accept anything, but I mean, does somebody turn down the Dodgers at this point? I don't know. He would be a fit. They do need the outfield. Bullpen options for the Yanks. There are a lot of bullpen pieces out there, whether it be Diaz. I'd love to see the Yankees try for Diaz. Suarez, Finnegan, Fairbanks, Kenley Jansen. Although Kenley Jansen's going to go somewhere and close. He wants to run up his save total so he can get to the Hall of Fame. I don't blame him. What about the Astros? Someone asked me on the plane today about Brendan Donovan. That's a team that's been after him. Oh, will Ketel Marte be traded? Okay, that's what we were talking about, Ketel Marte. I mean, I don't want to say shopping, they've been listening on Ketel Marte for a long time. He's got a 5-team no trade. They don't really seem like they want to trade him. And I saw over the last 2 years, there's like 4 players with a 150 OPS plus, and it's like Ohtani, Soto, Judge, and Ketel Marte. I don't know. It's a big risk to trade a player like that. So I'm going to say no. Michael King spots. I see him as an East Coast guy. Could be the Orioles. That's a team that has inquired on Michael King. Would not be shocked there. Could it be the Red Sox? He isn't from Rhode Island. They did get Gray, obviously. And we're going to get more on the Red Sox in a little while. I think that's a team the Padres, I mean, that's a player the Padres still could afford. Maybe. I mean, they are up for sale, so not sure. All right. Can Murakami hit fastballs? I think he can. I think the issue with Murakami, I know he strikes out a fair amount, but I think the issue with him is the third baseman, and he probably isn't. So he's probably a first baseman DH, but he is a guy with great power, and he's not going to hit for high average, but he's going to hit fastballs. Edwin Diaz to the Dodgers. I was hearing early on that they probably wouldn't go for another closer of that ilk. Obviously, they signed Tanner Scott for $72 million. They're hoping he makes a nice comeback next year, kind of forgets about this year. They have guys coming back. It didn't feel like it. It felt like they were looking more in the next tier at the Devin Williams and guys like that. My guy Belly coming back to LA could be. And, the Angels have inquired as well, but I mean, he wants to be on a winner, so that's a question there, whether he's going to do that. Jeff McNeil trade, I think he's going to get dealt. I mean, they've given away his position. He's not going to be too happy being a backup. I know he's versatile now. He's only got 1 year to go. Certainly, I think that he is a tradable guy. I've seen or heard suggestions of Severino for McNeil. No, I mean, I think that if they're trading McNeil, they're going to try to get rid of some of that money. I don't think they're going to take on more money. Red Sox and Sonny Gray trade. Good for the Red Sox. Sonny Gray's been great everywhere except the Yankees. And I'm really not sure what happened with the Yankees because I don't think it's a big market. I think Sonny Gray can pitch anywhere. I think he's a terrific pitcher. Good for the Red Sox. That's good for the Red Sox. Now, I'm a little questioning now. I saw that report by Sean McAdam about how they're concerned about the payroll and the luxury. I mean, the Boston Red Sox, come on, guys, you saved $250 million last year with the trade of Rafael Devers, which was a very good trade. You needed to get him off the roster. You have a young team, very smart. I think they did a great job last year. Breslow and company did a great job. Crochet was a magnificent second in the Cy Young, deservedly so. Signed him up for 170 million. Seemed like a lot at the time. Looks like a good deal now. The Devers trade, I think, was a good one, even if the other players that they got don't pan out. To get rid of that 250 million, I think that was the way to go for Boston. So I think they did good stuff. I don't want to hear that they don't have money, that they're worried about the tax. In terms of revenues, I think they're third behind the Yankees and the Dodgers. And whether it's the Yankees or the Dodgers, I kind of think the Dodgers are first now with Ohtani, but it could go either way on that one. Red Sox are third in revenue, and I mean, I know we heard from Hal Steinbrenner that they didn't make a profit. So, I mean, if the Yankees didn't make a profit, I mean, is everyone going to claim they didn't make a profit? I mean, the Red Sox are a very profitable organization. Somebody just mentioned Red Sox and Ryan. That's a guy they were connected to. Obviously, they didn't come close to trading for him, but they certainly made an attempt. They had some prospects that Minnesota appeared somewhat interested in, but they ran out of time. So, I mean, if Minnesota does trade Ryan, that would be a logical landing spot. I kind of think they probably won't. At this point, it's a little different situation, certainly than Detroit with Skubal or Milwaukee than Peralta, because Ryan is on Minnesota. We're not sure they're a contender at this point. Is Bellinger and Imai offseason realistic for the Yankees? I think so. I mean, that's the way, optimally, that's the way it's probably headed for the Yankees, right? If they can get Bellinger and Imai done, that would be great. As I mentioned, I don't think they're particularly close on Bellinger. Imai, they've got competition. Certainly, a lot of teams are in on him. The pitching market, unless you think Skubal's getting traded or Peralta, which I think they're probably both long shots to get traded at this point. Not going to rule it out, but hard to find an ace. So Imai's going to look good. Bellinger certainly helped himself with a 5 WAR season. Actually had a higher WAR than Tucker. Not that he's a better player than Tucker. He's not a better player. Tucker is the number one free agent. Not saying Bellinger's better, but he had a big year. He was great defensively. Both New York teams obviously noticed. What pitcher will the Astros sign? I don't think it's going to be Framber Valdez, but we'll see. They seem to have let go their stars in the past. So could Ranger Suarez, be a guy for them? I think so. I think the Mets are a team that could be in on Ranger Suarez as well. The Mets are certainly going to go get a starting pitcher. Beyond the fact they need to bring back Diaz and Alonso, they need to get some more bullpen pieces and a starting pitcher. Chances O's land is that Tucker and Valdez. I mean, that would be pretty shocking, but good for them if they do it. Does feel like Valdez and Tucker are guys that the Orioles are looking at. Mike Elias, their GM, he might be the baseball president. I think he's baseball president. Sorry, I didn't mean to demote you, Mike. He has ties to both from Houston. He was in Houston before he came to Baltimore. Certainly has ties. Certainly they have interest in Framber, and I'm sure they have interest in Tucker. I don't know. Tucker seems rich for their blood. To me, Tucker, is he going to get 400 million? I'm not sure he's going to get 400 million, but even if he gets 350 or 375 million, that seems pretty rich and I like their new owner, Rubenstein. I think they have a good new owner. I think Tucker's probably rich for them. They probably need to look more. They got Ward for the outfield, right? That helps them. They had young outfielders who I think could make nice comebacks, and it feels like Valdez or somebody of that ilk would be a better fit. Jaron Duran, question mark. Yeah, as long as we're talking about the Red Sox, certainly they could trade an outfielder. That's been out there for a while, whether that be Abreu or Duran. We know the Padres have been interested in Duran for 2 years. I mean, you might as well make this trade already. I mean, this has gone on for so long. But my main thing with the Red Sox is, you've got Gray. You have a lot of good young players. You have great revenue. I don't get the idea that they want to save money or not at the threshold or whatever. Their payroll isn't that high now that Duran has been traded, and they have looked at the big free agent bats, right? They've looked at Schwarber, they've looked at Alonso, they've looked at Okamoto, they've looked at Bregman, they've even looked at Real Muto. I'm not sure that Real Muto is a necessity for the Red Sox. I think he'll have other markets. Certainly Philly. We hear with Real Muto, Pittsburgh. I think there'll be other teams interested in Real Muto, a very fine catcher, obviously over 30 at this point, so it's not going to be a long deal. But to me, the other guys fit the Red Sox better. And to me, Bregman is the guy for them. He was so good for them, and that's the guy to bring back. If they want to do Polanco, obviously they could save some money. Maybe Bregman ends up with Detroit. Uh, to me, that's then at that point you better sign one of those other guys, whether it be Schwarber or Alonso and or Okamoto. Alonso is a righty bat, so he fits them better. I think the reason I haven't heard Murakami with them is he's a lefty bat. Schwarber they had, and they love him. So Schwarber I have heard with the Red Sox, and I'm not going to rule that out. I don't care if they're crying poverty. Okay, that's probably an exaggeration that they're worried about the luxury tax. I think that's just something to say. I don't believe it. I think they're going to go and do something pretty big, whether it be Bregman, whether it be Alonso, whether it be Schwarber, whether it be a combination, Okamoto. So I'm still of the belief that they will do something big, even if they are talking about the luxury tax. All right. All right. Chances any of the Japanese players sign soon? I feel like we're close to the winter meetings. I think that they will. Uh, I think we're going to get a lot of action at the winter meetings, whether it's the Japanese guys or other people. I think we're going to get action. Will the White Sox spend? The short answer, probably not that much. They're still on the rebuild. I like the way they're handling it, but they've never spent big. I mean, their biggest steal ever has been Benintendi, so that'll tell you right there that they're not big on spenders. Could the Dodgers take on Baez like they did with Price to entice Tigers to move Skubal? You're going to have to give up big prospects to get Skubal. Taking on a contract, not going to do it. In my opinion, you better come with your best prospects to get Skubal. He's the best pitcher, along with Skeens, in baseball. Probably fairly, if you were to rank him, you'd rank Skubal number one. Skeens is awfully good, but I know it's only 1 year. I know they got Mookie Betts for relatively little. I don't see Skubal being traded for relatively little. All right, latest on top free agents. All right, Imai, we kind of covered. Giants and Imai, question mark. I saw somebody report the Giants have concerns about their payroll. I mean, the Giants needed to do something pretty big. I know they've tried for these Japanese stars, including Otani, and didn't get them. Maybe they're a little squeamish. I don't know. Imai, to me, would seem to be a fit there. They have the payroll, or should have the payroll flexibility. They have a great business. They make a lot of money, and Oakland has moved, as we know, to the hinterlands, eventually to Las Vegas. Latest on how likely Pittsburgh is to spend money. Well, I think they mean it. I do think they mean it. I'm going to show faith that they're going to spend some money, whether that be 25 or 30 million. I'm not sure. Something decent to augment the lineup. I doubt they'll get Schwarber. It's easier probably for them to do it by trade. Could they ended up with a Brandon Lau or somebody like that? He'd be a fit. Somebody like that who they could get, give up prospects who they do have, which they do have, not too expensive. That to me would be a fit. Whether I know McNeil has been connected. I connected him to Pittsburgh and to Seattle. So. But I do think Pittsburgh will do something. I think they want to show Skeens that they're serious. They have this window also with Skeens and other good prospects. So I do think they need to do something. All right. Ranger Suarez, I think the Mets are a potential fit there. King, I think the Orioles are a potential fit there. Zach Gallen, he's a guy who's been an ace in the past. Obviously, it was not very good this year, but look at Cease. Cease didn't have a good year. He ended up signing a huge deal. I don't think Gallen's going to get anywhere near that. For whatever reason, there wasn't much of a trade market for him. So I don't know what people are seeing, but To me, Zach Allen has been an outstanding pitcher. He's been a top five Cy Young guy twice, so he should do pretty well. Merrill Kelly, same thing. D-backs, former D-back player. And I think he's a terrific pitcher. So I've seen some estimates where he's going to get 10 million a year. Some Merrill Kelly to me is a $20 million a year pitcher at this point. He's pretty darn good. So those are my top free agent starters. And of course, you've got Scherzer, you've got Verlander, you've got Bassett, you got some decent depth. You don't have a ton at the very top, but you've got some decent depth. And in terms of trades, like I said, Skubal and Peralta's names might be out there. I still think it's long shots for them to get traded. Ryan doesn't feel at the moment that he's getting traded, but that's a team that is sort of in a semi-rebuild, so I'm not going to rule that one out. That one seems to me more likely. Although Skubal and Peralta are in their walk year, Ryan's got 2 years to go, which changes the equation. Lopez, people think he's getting traded. Orioles are a team that I think could be interested there. Then you've got the Marlins, who are threatening to contend, and they did improve by 19 games, so I don't blame them. So I think Cabrera and Alcantara are probably long shots to go. So I'm not sure what we're going to get. We're hearing a lot of names on that trade market, and there've been two big trades already, counting the Nimmo and Semien deal and the Gray trade, and only one really big signing, a Cease. So teams are trying to do trades right now, but I'm not seeing a lot of activity right now or likelihood with Skubal, Peralta, and Ryan. Those are the big names, or Alcantara. I like Cabrera too. Lopez, I think, may get dealt. Imai, years and money. You know what? Imai, Fromber, and Cease to me, were all in that category of 6 or 7 for 180, something like that. They, to me, were all potential number ones. So I think he's in that category. I think I had Imai at 200. I had him a little higher than Cease. Cease beat my guess by 35 million. The guesses aren't always great. Could the Giants land Luis Robert from Chicago? Potentially. He could be a fit. I was surprised they picked up that $20 million option. It looks like a decent move at this point, as there seems to be interest in Luis Robert at 20 million. If there is, Harrison Bader should be pretty happy because he performed better than Luis Robert. Not that he's going to get 20 million, but he had a very nice year. What are the Angels up to? I don't know. I've seen some people speculate on Murakami for them. I think they are looking at pitching. They have checked in on Bellinger. Mets hot on anything. They're obviously trying for Diaz. Diaz wants the 5 years. They don't want to go to 5. They certainly would go to 3. The question is, would they go to 4? I kind of think that's where the compromise is. 4-year deal for Diaz. Is that not good enough? I don't know. To get 5, he's going to have to go get that somebody else and come back to the Mets and say, look, I got the 5. And maybe then at that point they're pressed and the Mets give the 5. But for now, the Mets do not want to give the 5. It's a 31-year-old reliever. I thought the 4 was fair. When will Imai sign? He could be by the end of the meetings. I could see that with any of these stars. Is it true the Astros are signing Jake Myers? I'll have to plead that I don't know on that. I've seen that out there. I do know they're interested in Brendan Donovan. That I can confirm. That's something that the Astros want to do. And I do think the Astros will pick up a pitcher. I could see Suarez or somebody like that, or Michael King potentially. Zero Hope and DePaula. Okay, those are big Dodger prospects. To me, you trade Skubal, it's not going to be just a giveaway and we're getting rid of the Baez deal. Baez was actually pretty good. Didn't Baez make the All-Star team? He was the comeback player of the year, I believe. So I don't see how that balances out the Skubal trade. If you're the Tigers, you're gonna have to get big prospects if you're gonna trade Skubal. You can't. I mean, the fans are gonna be upset no matter what you do trading Skubal, but you've got to bring back big prospects. How many more free agents do you think signed before the winter meeting? 6, 7? I don't think we're going to see big 6 or 7 big ones. Yeah, I mean, I could see some smaller ones, but 6 or 7, that's a small. My list is about 150, right? Or 200, something like that, free agents, right? So if 6 or 7 signed, we got a lot to do at the winter meetings, and I think we will have a lot to do at the winter meetings. All right, DEE, I'm not sure. Is that a code? I'm not sure what that means. All right. Mariners news. Look, I think they did great bringing Naylor back, just about what I predicted, for $90 million. They got 92.5. I think they like Polanco. Suarez maybe be a fallback. 67. I think that means something with the kids. I'm not sure. Quit it with the 67. Anything on the Reds? I've seen him connected to Schwarber. I think that's just hope or speculation on the part of fans. That's a lot of money for the Cincinnati Reds. And I think the Cincinnati Reds owner, I saw the list of owner net worth, and they had the lowest owner net worth, Castellini, and obviously the smallest market tied with Milwaukee. I think they do a good job, and they spend and they try to win. But to me, Schwarber, I know he's a hometown guy for the Cincinnati Reds. I think that's a tough one for them. He's got Philly, he's got Pittsburgh, he's Baltimore, Boston. There's probably several other teams. Alonso to the Orioles? Question mark. I think they'd have to trade Mountcastle before they did that. I think Boston is a bigger threat to the Mets than Baltimore at this point. Baltimore needs to get a starting pitcher, I think, more than they need to look at Alonso. They would like a bat, like a DH outfield bat. And I don't think Alonso wants to be a DH. And, is Boston more exciting for him than Baltimore? I mean, his wife's from Boston. They have one more. They've won more championships than Baltimore. I don't know. Obviously, Boston's been a little bit up and down, but they were a little better last year. I think Baltimore's going to come back, though. I like what they're doing. I like Ward. I like Helsley. I think the New York thing was a fluke. I think he was tipping his pitches. So I think it's going to work out for Helsley in Baltimore, and I like the fact that they're being aggressive. That's another small market team that's being aggressive. Sorry I didn't get to all the chats. Giants in on anything big? I sure think they should be. I know they're telling people, or told at least one person, that they've got some financial issues. What financial issues should they have? Their competition moved to Sacramento, and then they're moving to Las Vegas. So I think they should be doing well financially. They just gave a first-year manager the biggest contract any first-year manager ever had, right? They have Buster Posey running the operation. You think he's cheap? I don't think so. I mean, are they going to catch the Dodgers? Maybe not, but they certainly could have the potential to be a playoff team with some nice moves. Latest on Mets and Framber. That's the last question I'll get to. I mentioned this earlier. The Mets are in on Framber. I'm not sure that they made an offer for Framber to this point. It does make sense. They do need a number one pitcher. But I don't believe anything's close with the Mets and Framber to this point. So if anything's been said on that, I don't think that's right. But it's fluid. You never know. There are some secret deals. All right. Tatis, question mark, anything? I don't think they're going to trade Tatis. Cronenworth is a guy whose name's out there, I believe. I don't see how they trade Tatis. All right, this is Jon Heyman signing off. It's been my pleasure, and let me mention that we are going to be on every day through the winter meetings. So it's not just once a week. Obviously, I'm on Monday today. I'm usually on Wednesdays, and I will be on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way through the end of the winter meetings. So keep chatting at me. It's been my pleasure. Signing off for Bleacher Report. This is Jon Heyman.